Well, here we are at Port Canaveral, getting ready to board the Royal Caribbean Adventure of the Seas. And there it is behind with me. Right now we're standing in the parking garage, actually on top of the parking garage, getting ready to head down and board a family of 11. So we're actually boarding with 5 children, and so we'll have to figure out what the process is and how much different it is boarding with children than it is just boarding with the adults that we're used to boarding with. So this should be an interesting adventure. Right now, they're still trying to get all the children and everything herded together to bring them over. Let's take a look and see where they are. There they are down there by the van, getting ready to head this direction. Children are 7, 5, 4, 20 months, and 10 months. So this should be an interesting cruise. Here's Captain 6202 right in the front of the ship. She's a nice closet.
Dear guests, at night, the cabin window where flights are bridge makes it difficult for the navigating officers to see. To prevent this from happening, I ask that you keep the curtains closed after sunset. Captain.
We gotta bring these for the kiddos.
safe. More storage. This should be the refrigerator. There's your hair dryer. It's big enough that the door doesn't want to shut. And more storage. And here's room 8214. It's an extended ocean view. As you can see, we are traveling with some children, and we have one child sleeping on the bed. We have another child sleeping in the crib that is provided by Royal Caribbean, and it's a smaller crib, which is fine for our younger child, and so that's what we are using for it. The other 3 children are sleeping in the other room with the bed pulled out. We left our couch pushed in because we have been parking our stroller right here, and it takes a lot of room. As you can see, we've got a lot of stuff on the desk. We have the closets filled up, and there's a lot of closet space here. So you can see there is quite a bit of space in here in the closet. And then they have some little cubby holes in the mirrors to the side. In both mirrors. Behind here is your safe. More storage up here, which we aren't using. And then down below is the refrigerator, which we have been using some. And then, of course, is the bathroom. It's got a round shower, and it looks tiny, but actually when you're taking a shower in it, it's actually pretty roomy, so it's not bad at all. And then, of course, you have the rest of the bathroom and a nice sink and a little bit more storage behind the mirrors over on the other side. We just arrived at the port. We pulled into the parking garage. What did you think of the arrival process?
I actually thought the arrival process was really good. We were able to drop off our luggage with porters. The biggest issue that I saw for us, of course, we because of our later arrival, had to drive all the way to the top of the parking garage and park on top, which is fine. I'm glad we found a spot. But their elevator system is very slow, and it was hard. We went in 2 different elevators, but we had a lot of carry-on things between us and the children and the other adults. So I think the elevator operation was a little slow, but other than that, we were able, again, because of our later arrival, to pretty much walk straight onto the ship once we got through the area where they had to give us our IDs and our cards and all of that. I mean, that took a little time because we had the children and they all had birth certificates and they were assigned to different rooms with different adults and trying to get that mess taken care of. But once we got there, I mean, we just walked right onto the ship, so there wasn't a line.
The only issue that I really saw was one case we had a birth certificate and driver's license with a married person who had a different last name on the 2.
Yes.
And they probably really should have brought their marriage certificates to simply simplify the process. They did let her on, but
yeah,
it did slow things down a little bit.
So if you have issues with your documentation, where maybe your name, you've gotten married but you haven't changed it, on your state identification, and you're using a birth certificate, not a passport, have that stuff straightened out before you cruise. I mean, it just makes things easier. As Edward said, ultimately she was able to get on, but that took some time up there on our way in.
But everyone with a passport walked straight on.
Yeah, that wasn't a problem. So my recommendation, while you can sail without a passport, it does make it more difficult and more time consuming, I guess I should say. The staff were great. I mean, they were trying to work with everybody and make sure everybody got on the ship and was able to have a good time. It was I have to commend, I mean, the staff that we dealt with were wonderful. It's just better to have everything, in order before you cruise.
The muster drill.
That was different. I mean, when we first started sailing, that was back when, everybody showed up at their muster with one of your life preservers, and everybody showed up and you had to, stand like sardines in a can. We just showed up to our muster
Sometimes
station.
at very hot temperatures.
Oh yeah, that was sometimes. I mean, those were miserable. You had to do them. And I totally get the need for them. I'm not arguing against muster drills, not at all. It's important that we know in case of an emergency, and we know emergencies can happen. It can happen. So knowing those things is good. We showed up at our muster station. They scanned our cards, showing that we showed up, and they will not sail until every person has shown up at their muster station and been scanned in. And they announce it over, the intercoms that, you must go to your muster station and check in before.
But it's a very, very simple process.
Oh, yeah.
nowadays. It's just a matter of, actually, we boarded the ship, we walked straight to the muster station. We didn't actually have our room cards yet because they were on our room door.
Yeah, but they looked us up on their computer.
But we had our boarding passes that we just showed them the boarding pass, and they just scanned it, and we went on.
And we went on in, and it worked out great. We were able to go get our cards. I'm old school. I still call them sign and sell cards, and I don't know. Wrong. That's the wrong line, I know, but that's how they're in my head. But we were able to get those at the door. Everything went great. I mean, as far as getting on the ship and getting through all of the particulars, that was good. Now, one thing are we done with muster station?
If you want to.
Okay. One thing I will say about getting to the ship at a later time. Yes, we didn't have to wait in as long the lines and everything we got on. The problem was, by the time we were able to go eat dinner, the buffet was closed and the dining rooms weren't open. And so, we were hungry. So take that into consideration, that you may, we've been used to boarding earlier and going straight to the buffet and eating and all of that. That didn't happen for us, but that was our fault, not the cruise line. We just did everything else, and we were able to get food. So we had pizza.
Was always open.
Pizza was open, and we had pizza, and it was very good. And I will not complain at all about that. But I'm just saying, if you are arriving at a later time, towards the end of the boarding process, just be aware that your dining options may vary. I'll put it there.
The cabin itself, I kind of liked the layout of our cabin this time. It was an extended ocean view is what they called it, and it was a good sized room.
The kids sure enjoyed getting up in the porthole type window that we had. They could climb up in there, and they had a ball. We were very careful that they didn't damage themselves or the window area, but they were able to get up there, and they enjoyed it. The boys had fun, and we had room in our cabin to put a crib for the baby. He was in our cabin, and that worked out great. I could still walk around the bed and get into everything I needed to. So I actually think the room was very roomy for cruise ship. I mean, we had a double stroller in there most every day, and we were still able to push that enough out of the way that the two babies, the younger two children, could play in the floor.
And also, we had somebody sleeping on the couch, but we did not open up the couch
No.
bed because that allowed us to have the stroller in there and still be able to walk through to be able to get to the bathroom. And the bathroom, I thought, was fairly good size. The
Yeah.
shower looked tiny.
But it was actually not bad at
It
all.
wasn't bad at all.
No.
I mean,
And I'm a bigger person,
It was
so I was
round.
worried. Yeah, it was round and it had the doors that connected in the middle. It didn't have a curtain, and I liked the doors idea better than a curtain, because curtains, when you have a bigger body, curtains tend to want to stick to your bigger body, so I don't like that. But I was afraid to get in the thing. I'm like, I'm just, I'm fluffy. I'm not going to fit. But I did, and it worked out fine.
I thought it was very
Yeah.
roomy,
Yeah,
considering the size that it looked from just looking at it. So
yeah.
overall,
I was happy with
I
our
was
room.
very happy with the boarding process. I was very happy with the room.
Yeah.
I mean, overall, everything worked very easily and was very simple.
Yeah. And I will say, as we get into more about this cruise, it's our first Royal Caribbean cruise, and it was a different cruise than we have ever done in our life. That was because we had the 5 children with us. And we've always cruised. Our son was 9 when we started cruising, and he,
There's a big difference between one child and
yeah, and they're all 7 years old and younger. So it was much different for us as grandparents, we didn't really have any downtime away from the grandkids. We did take one morning, we went into a port by ourselves, and we'll talk about that when we get to ports. But I will just let you know, it is different for us. And I'm not saying I didn't love it, I did. I loved it. We had a blast. The kids were good kids. We did a lot, and we're going to tell you all about it. It's good.
So just stay tuned for the next episode.
Yeah. Stay tuned.